Chapter 4, Path of Renunciation with Knowledge. The Supreme Lord said, I taught this Karma Yoga, the eternal science of right action, to King Vivaswan. Vivaswan taught it to Manu. Manu taught it to Ikshvaku. Thus, the saintly king knew this Karma Yoga, handed down in succession. After a long time, the science of Karma Yoga was lost from this earth. Today, I have described the same ancient science to you because you are my sincere devotee and friend. Karma Yoga is a supreme secret indeed. Arjuna said, You were born later, but King Vivaswan was born in ancient time. How am I to understand that you taught this yoga in the beginning of the creation? The Supreme Lord said, Both you and I have taken many births. I remember them all, O Arjuna, but you do not remember. Though I am eternal, immutable, and the Lord of all beings, yet I manifest myself by controlling my own material nature, using my divine potential energy, namely Yoga Maya. Whenever there is a decline of dharma or the righteousness and a predominance of adharma or unrighteousness, O Arjuna, then I manifest myself. I appear from time to time for protecting the good, for transforming the wicked, and for establishing the world order or dharma. One who truly understands my transcendental appearance and activities of creation, maintenance, and dissolution attains my supreme abode and is not born again after leaving this body, O Arjuna. Many have become free from attachment, fear, anger, and attained salvation or mukti by taking refuge in me, becoming fully absorbed in my thoughts, and becoming purified by the fire of self-knowledge. With whatever motive people worship me, I fulfill their desires accordingly. People worship me with different motives. Those who long for success in their work here on earth worship the celestial controllers, namely Devas. Success in work comes quickly in this human world. The four divisions of human society, based on aptitude and vocation, were created by me. Though I am the author of this system of division of labor, one should know that I do nothing directly and I am eternal. Work or karma does not bind me because I have no desire for the fruits of the work. One who fully understands and practices this truth is also not bound by karma. The ancient seekers of liberation also performed their duties with this understanding. Therefore, you should do your duty as the ancients did. Even the wise are confused about what is action and what is inaction. Therefore, I shall clearly explain what is action, knowing that one shall be liberated from the evil of birth and death. The true nature of action is very difficult to understand. Therefore, one should know the nature of attached action, the nature of detached action, and also the nature of forbidden action. One who sees inaction in action or action in inaction is a wise person. Such a person is a yogi and has accomplished everything. One who desires to have become selfless by being roasted in the fire of self-knowledge is called a sage by the wise. One who has abandoned selfish attachment to the fruits of work and remains ever content and dependent on no one but God, such a person, though engaged in activity, does nothing at all and incurs no karmic reaction. One who is free from desires, whose mind and senses are under control, and who has renounced all proprietorship, does not incur sin, the karmic reaction, by doing bodily action. Content with whatever gain comes naturally by his will, unaffected by pairs of opposites, free from envy, undisturbed by success and failure. Although engaged in work, such a karma yogi is not bound by karma. All karmic bonds of a philanthropic person, namely karma yogi, who is free from attachment, whose mind is fixed in self-knowledge, who does work as a service to the Lord, dissolves away. Eternal being, namely Brahma, is the oblation. Brahma is the clarified butter. The oblation is poured by Brahma into the fire of Brahma. Brahma shall be realized by one who considers everything as a manifestation or an act of Brahma. Some yogis perform the service of worship to celestial controllers or devas, while others offer sacrifice itself as offering in the fire of the eternal being, namely Brahma, by performing the sacrifice of self-knowledge. Some offer their hearing and other senses as sacrifice in the fire of restraint. Some offer their hearing and other senses as sacrifice in the fires of restraint. Others offer sound and other objects of the senses as sacrifice in the fires of senses. Others offer all the functions of the senses and the functions of the five bio-impulses, namely prana or life forces, as sacrifices in the fire of self-restraint that is kindled by self-knowledge. Others offer their wealth, their austerity, and their practice of yoga as sacrifice, while the ascetics with strict vows offer their study of scriptures and knowledge as sacrifice. Those who engage in yogic practices reach the breathless state of trance or samadhi by offering inhalation into exhalation and exhalation into inhalation as a sacrifice, by using short breathing, namely Kriya technique. Others restrict their diet and offer their inhalations as sacrifice into their inhalations. All these people are the knowers of sacrifice and are purified by their sacrifice. Those who perform selfless service, seva or yajna, obtain the nectar of self-knowledge as a result of their sacrifice and attain the eternal being, namely Brahma. O Arjuna, if even this world is not a happy place for the non-sacrificer, how can the other world be? Many types of spiritual disciplines are described in the Vedas. Know them all to be born from karma, or the action of body, mind, and senses. Knowing this, you shall attain salvation, moksha, or nirvana. The knowledge sacrifice is superior to any material sacrifice, O Arjuna, because all actions in their entirety culminate in knowledge. Acquire this transcendental knowledge from a self realized person by humble reverence, by sincere inquiry, and by service. The wise ones who have realized the truth will teach you. After knowing the transcendental science, O Arjuna, you shall not again become deluded like this. With this knowledge, you shall see the entire creation within your own self and thus within me. Even if one is the most sinful of all sinners, one shall yet cross over the ocean of sin by the raft of self-knowledge or Brahma-jnana alone. As the blazing fire reduces wood to ashes, similarly, fire of self-knowledge or Brahma-jnana reduces all bonds of karma to ashes, O Arjuna. Verily, there is no purifier in this world like jnana, the true knowledge of the Supreme Being, namely Parabrahma. One who becomes purified by karma yoga discovers this knowledge within, naturally, in course of time. One who has faith and is sincere in yogic practices and has control over the senses gains this transcendental knowledge. Having gained this knowledge, one at once attains supreme peace. The irrational, the faithless, and the disbeliever or the atheist perish. There is neither this world nor the world beyond, nor happiness for the disbeliever. Work or karma does not bind a person who has renounced work by renouncing the fruits of the work through karma yoga, and whose doubts are completely destroyed by viveka, the application of self-knowledge, O Arjuna. Therefore, cut the ignorance-born doubt about the Supreme Being abiding in your mind by the sword of self-knowledge. Resort to karma yoga and get up for the war, O Arjuna. This ends the 4th chapter named Path of Renunciation with Knowledge of the Upanishad of the Bhagavad Gita, the scripture of yoga dealing with the science of the Absolute in the form of the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna.